how is everybody doing today? And yes, we finally got the drip marketing for Casteras, which is going to be our Quantum Remembrance character. And I'm not going to lie, Casteras has definitely been a character I've been very excited for, especially after seeing her animations in a couple videos back where they kind of leaked their own animations in terms of what she's able to do, where she has that cool dragon. She has a lot of really nice effects to her kit. But today specifically, we are going to talk about not Aglaea. We are going to talk about Aglaea a little bit, but today we are going to be looking at Casteras and kind of looking at what she's going to be doing in the meta, what I assume she's going to be taking in terms of teammates, and not only that, where the meta is going to lie when we're looking at Casteras. So of course Casteras is going to be in her own lane at the current moment, with her being a Remembrance Quantum unit, a little bit different than Aglaea, who is going to be Remembrance Lightning. And there is one thing that we do have to make note of when looking at Casteras and what she's going to have versus what Aglaea is going to have. And again, this kind of fed into the feeling of why I didn't pull for Aglaea, why I'm not pulling for Aglaea, is because right now Aglaea's best team at the current moment does consist of something like having Sunday, having characters like Robin, Remembrance MC, and then someone like REHOO. And it makes a lot of sense why, because Aglaea at the current moment is basically as resource demanding as possible when it comes to not only the, I guess she's at the bottom, yeah, there she goes. She has a humongous amount of energy costs when it comes to how much you need, and I don't think it tells you here. It tells you in game, which I think that's kind of weird that they don't have this here. But the ultimate itself takes quite a bit of energy, because this is what you're using to keep up your memo sprite. And then not only that, since you have the memo sprite and it takes you a billion years to get the energy for it, you want to have a character like REHOO, and you also want to have characters like Sunday and Robin, where they're able to advance for not only the memo sprite but also the user itself. So there are a couple of characters that work very well with Aglaea. But now looking at what we see here with Castorice, we see, of course, plain as day, that this is a Remembrance Quantum character. The problem with this is that she's a Remembrance character, which we all knew she was going to be anyway. Now there are two things we have to make note of. One, because she's a Remembrance character, and she's most likely going to need a team that consists of characters that synergize well with it. Guess which characters are on the block for someone to work with Castorice? Characters like Robin, characters like Sunday, also a character like Remembrance MC, and possibly even REHOO as well. The overlap right now between teams is potentially what is going to be very, very competitive towards a character like Aglaea, just because she might need every single portion of the team that Aglaea has. And it's not confirmed, we don't know this for sure. I'm not saying that yes, Robin, Sunday, REHOO, all these characters are just going to be yanked away from Aglaea. There is the case that I might not be true at all. We do remember that there are some characters coming out very soon that could end up working well with Casteras, depending on how they work. We have Tribi coming out very soon, and we also have someone like My Day coming out. I have no idea if these guys are going to have any type of correlation within Casteras' kit, but for all we know, they have to bring out a support for a reason. They're not just going to bring out Tribi just to have her come out. I do think Tribi might play very heavily into Casteras' kit potentially. So that leaves a character like Robin out of the picture potentially. Looking at Sunday versus what he would be doing for Aglaea's team versus Casteras' team, it really just depends on what specifically Casteras needs in her team. Does she need a lot of HP? Does she need a lot of energy? Does she need a lot of attack? She needs some defense? I don't know. There's a bunch of different ways we can look at this, but right now Sunday does look like a character that most likely will be put on Casteras' team, just because of how potent his buffs are in regards to helping out the user, helping out the summon itself. There's just so many good things that come from Sunday, and of course his ability to give energy, his ability to generate skill points, every single thing under the sun Sunday's able to do for Remembrance characters. And again, this is why I didn't summon on Aglaea, because I feel like Aglaea had a little too much overlap, or not enough to her kit that would stop her from losing teammates to future Remembrance characters. I do think Aglaea is our toe dip in the water when it comes to Remembrance characters, which of course, if you like Aglaea, if you like her kit, if you like how she plays, that's a really good thing for you. You're enjoying your first Remembrance character. That is really nice to see. But for me, I was thinking realistically, well, A, I didn't like her kit, but B, looking at how Castorice is going to be Remembrance after we saw the animations right before Aglaea's release, it seemed like we were going to be losing teammates to Aglaea, which technically could or could not be true. This is still based on just limited knowledge that we could think of based on what they've been doing in the past regarding the characters that they're pulling out. Now, there is one thing to note when it comes to Castorice inside of Starro, or her getting drip marketed right now, is that this banner, or Castorice's banner, should drop somewhere near Starro's anniversary. And the last time that happened, if I'm not wrong, we got what, Ruan May, Sparkle Swan, I think. And right now, I think if we're looking at anniversary characters, especially one with a new path, this is definitely going to be a leaps and bounds character that we might be seeing a whole new level of power coming from Castorice. Like, I definitely do think that she could be that Remembrance character where she is going to be in the same, I guess, a tier as someone like Fei Xiao, as someone like Acheron, or maybe Fei Xiao and Herda. I think Herda and Fei Xiao, realistically, these guys might have a new teammate up top with them, because I think Castorice being an anniversary character, Castorice being our next Remembrance character, one that has a little bit more potential within her kit or within what she's going to be doing. I do think that we might see another tier 0 DPS very, very soon. I'm very excited to see that, just because I think that Castorice looks really freaking cool. Other than that, besides the main supports that we are talking about for Remembrance characters that would help something like Castorice, there are characters that could make a resurgence. They did say they were buffing older units. Let's not forget this. They did say they were buffing older units, and Silverwolf right now, although yes, she has not seen the light of day for quite some time, she does have really good debuffs, and she could potentially work very well with Castorice. Like I said, depending on what Castorice specifically needs. We still have a 45% defense down, which that is something that you can't really beat. She also has the implant that she can help out with bosses, so technically you could brute force whatever you want with someone like Castorice. So this is a little interesting when it comes to what potentially could work, because right now there are some characters that could potentially get better. The only problem is we don't know to what degree. Like I said, Silverwolf has some really good debuffs. She has that implant that could work. We could see a resurgence in Sparkle. Probably not, because she doesn't have Memo Sprite boost, which sadly, that's just going to have to be how it is. Sparkle has a really good synergistic hit towards Quantum allies, but the problem is, because of this Remembrance meta, with us having Memo Sprites take up a slot for buffs, having a single character or a user being advanced forwarded doesn't guarantee that the Memo Sprite is going to get carried over as well. And most Memo Sprites want to be advanced forwarded, just like how Aglaea does. She wants her Garment Keeper to be boosted up alongside with her so that they can non-stop do attacks, which is understandable. Unless Castorice has some type of unique kit where, especially looking at the Relic set, if I'm not wrong, that gives you damage or crit based on how slow you are, if I'm not wrong. That might be wrong, I'm not gonna lie. But one of those relics give you that buff, and if we were to have that buff, there it goes. Quantum damage by 10%, decrease the wearer's speed by 8% before entering battle if the speed's lower than 110 or 95. Increase the wearer's crit rate by 20 to 32%. This effect applies to the wearer's Memo Sprite at the same time. So there could be a situation where you just run a fat ton of advanced forward characters just so that you can help out a Quantum character with this. But most likely, she's probably going to use the Memo Sprite relic set. Most likely, there's not really a lot of variance in which relics we're going to be using on these characters, so I'm just very excited. Hopefully we get to see some really cool stuff from Castorice. We do have My Day and Tribby stream coming up very, very soon, which is going to be very exciting to see, especially Tribby, because we all know Tribby is going to be Harmony. And with that being said, oh well, she sees Quantum. Woo, yeah, we got a lot to look forward to when it comes to Tribby and Castorice, and potentially My Day as well. So other than that, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. That's my thoughts on Castorice. I'm very excited. Definitely the Remembrance character I've been waiting for, so it's good to see that she's coming a little earlier than I expected. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. See you on the next one, and peace.